Hi.
Hello,
Again.
guys. We are back. We are back. I needed some water. I got some water.
Same. No, that was good. That was a good, short and sharp, a little, a couple of disturbances, but overall really good.
I'm glad. I'm glad. It's been fun. It's been fun doing it. I love the fact that I get to do it with the athletes, and just to like, it's kind of like a little icebreaker
Yeah.
before chatting with them. Thank you so much for accepting this invite. I really appreciate that. It means a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
So,
No, thank you so much for having me. I think like this whole series that you're doing is really cool. And I think that like as athletes, we need to connect a little bit more.
right.
I think that like we need to uplift each other. So this is awesome.
Yes. Yes. Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Okay.
What happened to the foot?
I had a bone spur that I've had for like a long time removed. So it's nothing serious. It's only gonna be like a 2-week recovery, but I just had surgery on Tuesday. That's why I'm like, I can do things, but I don't want to push it. And then like
Right.
incisions to open up and it become like this whole big thing. But
Right. Correct. Right.
yeah.
So yes, surgery. So I saw your post, and it says, I'm getting sick and tired of this surgery thing. How many surgeries have you had?
Oh, this will be number 9, but I
Number
haven't had a lot in a long time. So that's
number
good.
number 9.
Yeah, I'm like a pro these days.
Yo, you're a true professional when it comes to that now.
I
Um,
know.
at
It's
what age? What age was your first one?
I think I was 14. Like, yeah. So all, not to scare anybody, but all soccer related. 3 foot surgeries to correct the same problem. Um, Meniscus, hip labrum, shattered my elbow. Did a face, broke this cheekbone, and they had to like pop it back out. And then now my foot. Oh, and then another knee surgery. I have like missing cartilage.
And you're entering year what? Year 6, or
Oh, this is year 6. So
this is year 6 of, wow, 9 surgeries, entering year 6 of her professional career.
yeah. So
Wow,
I
guys.
mean, it is what it is.
I mean, talk about resilience and being determined. Oh my goodness. So you're back home. Where is home?
So I'm originally from Fresno, California,
Okay.
but my sister lives in Sacramento. So I came by here to visit her and her kids. Haven't seen everybody since January, so
Mm.
I have to come
You're
home.
you're close by.
I know. That's why I was wondering if you're actually from Oakland, but I
Nah,
was wrong.
nah. Okay, all right. Uh, so you grew up in Fresno. Did you live there your whole life, or did you live in Cali your whole life?
My whole life. Yep. Grew up there, went to high school there. Then I went to Pepperdine for college. And then from there, I was like, I'll never live on the East Coast. I love the West Coast, and got drafted to New York. And then now I've been there for 6 years. So never say never, I guess.
Yes, that is. I've heard that saying so many times. So I mean, so you're entering year 6 of your, well, you're in year 6 of your career.
Yeah.
Um, what if you were to compare? I mean, besides the whole COVID thing, if you were to compare your first year, um, to your, I guess, 5th year to
Yeah.
last year, what are I mean, what's been the difference, and what have you learned, and what have you how have you grown from that,
Oh
from the year
God.
1 to year 5?
Well, year one, I think like I went to Western New York. I was in Buffalo. Thought it was going to be this like amazing thing. Get there. I've never seen so much snow in my life. That wasn't like in the mountains. The soccer was not great. We lost a lot. I like the group. We didn't really like click as a group with like just the team and the coaches. I hurt my knee that year, so I had to have surgery again. um, And so it was kind of a disappointing year. I was like, I don't know if I actually want to do this. I don't know if I want to keep playing. This isn't what I thought soccer was going to be.
Hmm.
You know, it's a job, but at the end of the day, I think soccer is a sport. It's supposed to be enjoyable.
Right.
That doesn't mean you're not going to have uphill battles, but it's supposed to be at the end of the day, something you enjoy. And I think, that with any job I do, that's something that I want to take with me. And that first year I wasn't enjoying it. I was like, this isn't what I want to do. And then fast forward to the 5th year, I'm now in North Carolina playing with like some of my best friends and having a great time. I think that what I've learned over the years is, you know, that first year was like the next year was the Olympic year. And a lot of my teammates that were drafted with me were getting their call up. And I was at home rehabbing a knee injury. And I also was coming off a terrible year. And I was like, they're getting their chance and I'm not even getting like an opportunity. I'm sitting at home, blah, 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 blah. And up until that time, it was like national team or bust for me. And I think how I've gone about my life now or about my soccer journey is just loving soccer and loving the game of soccer. And hopefully I get to the national team on the way. If I don't, then it's not meant to be. And I still like soccer isn't everything. It's, you know, little babies that come in and ruin workouts and my family. And, you know, there's a whole life beyond soccer. And so I think
Right.
that's what I've learned the most is you grind and you work and you set goals. But at the end of the day, like, you're supposed to be having fun and hopefully the goals will come. It's not like this or nothing. Because
Yeah.
if you put all your value in that and you don't make it, then you think your life is worth nothing, and that's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that. You hit it. You know, for us growing up, you know, for the longest time, all we could do it was everything soccer, right?
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
else came
Yeah.
last and was behind. And it's like for the longest time, we put our identity into the game,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then when you have like setbacks like that, right? Like your first year, you're like, man, like this is my job, but like I'm supposed to be having fun. I'm supposed to be like, I don't
Yeah.
have to worry about school. I don't have to worry about anything. This is like
Exactly.
I'm supposed to wake up, go to the field, like work hard, and like
Yeah.
be with my teammates, be with people that love the game. And it's like that's what the game is supposed to be. But then
Yeah.
like when you have a setback like that, it's like you're so confused, you're hurt, you're like, man, this is not what it's supposed to be like.
Yeah.
This is not how I envisioned it to be. And it's like because your identity is so you put
Wrapped
so
up.
much of
Yeah.
yourself into it, and it's like when you have a setback like that, and then you kind of like you know put you open up a different perspective of how life and how the game should be for you and how you should see it. And I mean, the same thing happened to me last year with my first year. Dealt with a lot of injuries, and I was like, this is not fun. Like you said, this is
Yeah.
not fun. Like depressed, hurt, can't play. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
this is not what it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to be enjoying this. I'm supposed to be having fun. I'm supposed to love the game. I'm like, I sacrificed so much
Yeah.
for
Exactly.
this to happen. It's like this is not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And
Are you
and
happy now?
the fact that you've gone from year one to year five to winning the league title, I mean, it just shows not just. I mean, you're speaking to me. I'm like, man, I'm relating right now. I'm like, this is me right now. I'm like seeing this in her,
Yeah.
and then it's
No, I
like,
think it's hard, you know, like you ask yourself, how long do I go through this like depression or this like tough battle? And you know, sometimes it's longer for others than
mm-hmm,
some, but I mean, you just got to keep pushing through it. If this is something you really want to do, you got to keep pushing, or this is a game you really enjoy doing. You know, I think everybody can say they've sacrificed so much for the game, you know?
right,
And I just think that at the end of the day, like, of course you want to reach the top and you want to reach your goals, but you know, in North Carolina, we don't set goals. We just work on every day. Like, how can we prove to be better the next day? And I
mm-hmm,
think that's a better outlook, because then like I said, if you don't reach that goal, then your world isn't crushed.
right,
And if you do all the little things in the day, it like you break it down so it seems attainable. It's like way smaller. you can actually reach it. And
Yeah.
two, you're like, it's okay, like step by step. And if you do all these right things, hopefully the end goal is going to happen. But if you just so focus on that end goal and don't think about like that you're going to go through,
The
you're
roller
like,
coaster of it. Yeah.
it's never going to, I'm never going to get there.
No,
So,
no.
yeah.
Because I mean, a lot of times people just see it as like, all right, well, I have this path that I need to go, and I have this goal I need to get there. But then they just think that it's like just a smooth pavement road.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to Michigan. The roads in Michigan are never smooth and pathway. There's a lot of bumps, and it's it's not perfect. The road's not gonna be perfect. There are bumps where you might hit that bump, but then it's like, well, you might get a flat tire, or your tire might just bust. But
exactly.
Do you have a spare tire? Can you change it quick, and can you get on?
Yeah,
it's
about
adapting. Your journey,
Yeah,
right?
you just gotta adapt.
Yeah.
Look, you took my water and left me a half-eaten sandwich.
But I absolutely love this. Love it. Look at, how old are they? How old are your nephew? How old is your nephew?
This is Kanan. Kanan, can you say hi? Say hi.
Hi.
He is he will be 3 in January.
3 in January.
He's a big boy. You want to take this? Are you done with this? Are you done with this? Okay. That is it.
I absolutely love it. I mean, that's just amazing. For sure. I mean, like you said, you have your nephews and your niece, and like it's like at the end of the day, soccer is just something that you're just passionate about and you love. But they are your true, you know. And I absolutely love that.
Yeah, no, I was with the national team for 2 years, and then thought I was going to be on track to be at the World Cup, and I fell short. And my world was crushed for a long time. I was like, I'm failing in front of everyone, and everybody's thinking this of me, and blah 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 blah. And then you go on social media, and there's some people that are saying things, and you like read into that, and then as time passes, people forget, and so they stop writing about you, and you're like, okay, it's not that big a deal. Like nobody actually cares except you.
Yeah.
And two, I was just like, you know what, I didn't. Maybe this is a sign. I wasn't ready for that. Like maybe I mentally wasn't in the right place, and that was another time I was like, I have to fall in love with soccer again. And that time off, I obviously worked really hard, and thank God I'm like back in. But I realized like my family doesn't care if I'm a soccer player or not. Like I come home and my nephews have no idea that I play soccer. They're just like, Auntie Lynn, like we want to jump on you. And like I said, like that's the thing in life that you want. Like of course you want to have all these accolades, but they're for you. Like my family doesn't care.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they absolutely don't. It's like you come home. It's like it's the same thing. I go home. When I go back to visit my little cousins and my nieces and nephews. Like they don't even know anything. They don't even know anything about football. It's just like, can you just play with us? Can you throw us around? Can you run after us? And it's just like really amazing that like you can just get away from all of that whenever you're with them, and that's the best part. So you said you missed the cup with the World Cup. What was the when was your first cup? Your first call up?
My first call up was in 2016 after we won the championship with.
Oh, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Oh, sorry. I was covering the speaker. That was like the year after I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Came back, fell in love with the game again, started playing well, won the Golden Boot and the MVP, and then got my first call up. So I was like, what is happening?
Wow. Golden
Yeah.
Boot winner playing like wow. It's like you just needed like a mental
Yeah.
healthy mental mind, like state of being where you're not focusing on anything but just
Mm-hmm.
loving and enjoying the process of loving the game.
Exactly. And I think that's all soccer is. Obviously, you have to have like the skill set to go with it. But like, if your mind isn't right, like, you're not going to go far, I don't think. You
No,
got to be in
no.
the right mental space.
No, I mean you're right. You're so right. Like at this level, right? The level that we're at is that
Mm-hmm.
this like everybody knows the skills there for sure. Like
Yeah.
because we wouldn't be at the level that we're at
Exactly.
if the skills and all that's not there. But then it's like we for the longest time we trained the physical side and the skills part of the game. We worked
Mm-hmm.
so hard trying to get our body, trying to get our skills
Yeah.
to work. But then it's like I'm 24. I've been playing the game since I was like 3. I never once, worked on mental strength.
Yeah.
How to be mentally ready for when I have 5 different injuries in one season.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard.
Right? And
I'm sorry that
so
happened to you.
yeah, and so for you it's like we never trained like how to be mentally ready for any ups, like any setbacks. And
Yeah.
so at this level, it's like it's like we have to train ourselves to be mentally ready.
Yeah,
And
it's just like that's what the margin of difference at like the top level. You're just like, how can I get even like 0.01% better than somebody, you know? And the mental side is a huge one.
mhm,
Like I said, from not caring what people think about you on social media to like, I have an injury, how do I overcome this? I missed that shot, how do I like let that go?
right,
And it's just like, how do you mentally keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and also mentally happy? Like, how do you keep yourself in a mentally happy place?
yeah,
With also giving up so much, not being with your family. You know, we have a
mhm,
pandemic going on. Like they want us to play soccer, and like we obviously love, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm worried about my family. I haven't seen them in a long time. So like, how do you mentally get yourself there? And I think that sometimes we could use more mental coaching. So
yeah. I mean, I applaud you guys for that for sure. Like having to
yeah.
do that. Like I mean, now like things are kind of slowing down a little bit. Not really. But but the like when y'all were doing it, it was literally smack in the middle.
Yeah.
It was it was like smacked in the middle, and it's like, and you guys were doing this, and then you get the Orlando Pride not being able to travel because of like
Yeah.
because of that, and you're like, I'm like, I don't even know what's going through these women's mind right now that one
Yeah.
one team can come to the tournament because some like couple of them got corona. It's like, are they freaking out right now that this could possibly
Yeah.
happen while they're over there?
Yeah, I definitely think that there was a handful of people that were like, should this be happening? Because that was like right at the peak of when the new wave was starting to happen and
Mm-hmm.
Utah was starting to get more cases. I really think the NWSL did a, oh, hello, there's another baby. Come here.
How
The
many?
NW,
How many babies are there?
there's 3. This is Jordan.
Oh, Jordan! Oh my God,
Hello.
the cuteness is too much.
So the NWSL was like, was like I think they did a really good job. We were tested a lot, and we like there were so many protocols, and we took it really seriously. But at the same time, like we can only we can't really get the food we want to eat, and you can only go from the hotel to the field, and if you want to go on a walk, it's like just around the hotel, and so and then now you're dealing with altitude and training. And I know it sounds like I'm complaining, but like mentally it was just like, okay, I want to go on a walk. I want to be able to eat what I want to eat.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, you know, like I said, you're worried about your family.
Mm-hmm.
And and like, is everybody okay? Am I taking tests away from people who need tests?
Yes.
There's so much going on in your head. But hi. But at the same time, you're like, I want to play the game of soccer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
I mean,
hard. Yeah.
it's understanding. When I tell people, oh yeah, we get tested every week, they're they're like, what? You get tested every week? Wow, I wish I had that. Must be nice. But then
Yeah.
you find yourself, I'm like complaining, like, no, I do not want to take this test. Do not stick anything up my nose anymore. I don't want this anymore. But
No,
then
yeah,
for you guys, I mean, yeah, of course it's normal. Like, yeah, we're gonna complain no matter what. Human being, we're meant to complain. It's just like that. But like, at the end of the day, like, we're grateful for the opportunity and to be able for them to be able to keep us safe.
yeah.
Even though we're not gonna get the food that we want, we're still gonna complain about it. I complain about just about everything. But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I'm going to appreciate it.
Yeah. No, I think that's one thing that I always say. Like, people are like, well, how do you feel? Like, I know this is a hard time, and like, it is, but at the end of the day, like, I have it better off than so many people, like, I still have a job, I still have my family and my health.
Yes.
And I think that's one thing that people need to realize as well. Like, if you have the ability to like donate or help somebody out, especially during this time, like, I think you can. And you can be okay with having a hard time, but you need to also recognize that there are people that are having a harder time. So yeah.
Yeah.
My 2 cents.
So let's see. Have you played any instrument before? Do you play any instruments?
Oh, I played the recorder in like second grade.
The what?
The recorder? You didn't do that?
No, what is that?
The recorder's like a little tiny flute that everybody had to play in second grade.
No, I was not playing that. I played the drums, but I never
Oh,
played the
that would be
recorder.
cool.
Guys, did anybody play the recorder when they're in? Somebody said the recorder is lit.
Yeah, you didn't play.
It's elite. It's elite.
You didn't play Hot Cross Buns on the recorder?
No.
Well, I did, and well, let me tell you a quick story. I was preparing for my recital, second grade recital with the recorder, and I think a week before the thing, I broke my arm, and I was in a cast. And so I couldn't play it. So I stood up on stage and just smiled and held the recorder the whole time.
No way. You're like this?
Yeah, I was like that because my like cast was too big. I couldn't like reach.
Oh, you'd be perfect for a pageant. Just go up there, just smile, speech, just smiling. So what was it like? I mean, what was it like last year winning the NWSL championship? What was it like? Tell me about the experience. I mean, I'm sure it was a long season. What was the mindset for you, for the team? I mean, just.
Yeah, I think that, anytime you win a championship or you win something, it's like an incredible thing, and you're like, all the hard work paid off.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the things, we had been through a tough season, and okay, goodbye. Sorry. Say bye-bye. Say bye.
Bye, Jordan.
Okay. You're trying to steal the show? All right.
Trying to steal it with her cute.
Yeah, so you were like, all the hard work we've done have paid off. But last year was obviously an interesting year. There was the World Cup, so we had people coming in and out. I think that was hard in itself. There was a moment where we had to adapt with all of our national team players gone, not just U.S., but like international teams or international players. And so we had to adapt. And then when they came back, we were losing a couple games. And so we were had to adapt again. And then we had the ICC going on during the same time. So when everybody was having a break, we were still playing games. And it's incredible. I will never get used to winning a championship. It's like, it's definitely a different feeling from winning your first one to whenever, if you ever win the last one, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's always like we did it. We came together as a team. All the hard work was paid off. And I don't even know how to describe it. It's so cool.
What was better, the She Believe or the NWSL? What
They're different.
what give you the goosies?
The NWSL.
NWSL, okay.
It's a long season. You're like,
Yeah.
we did it. Also, with the She Believes, it's like points. So like you're like whoever has the most amount of points at the very end versus the NWSL where you're like right then and there you win.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a little different.
Makes sense, yeah. Nah, for sure. No, I mean, I don't care what kind of championship you win. It never gets old to win. I haven't won a championship in a very long time, so I'm looking forward to the year that I win the national championship.
I hope you do. Whoa, dude. I'm showing my good.
So obviously you're not the only child.
I am not.
You're not.
I have an older sister.
Is it just two of you?
I have an older sister. It's just us two.
Oh, see, okay.
Yeah. That's it. It's just me and her. And she had all the babies.
So she got 3?
She out of her own body had 3, but they have 2 other ones. So there's 5 kids altogether.
There's 5 kids in the house?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a lot going on. 2 of them aren't here right now, so there's only 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like not a vacation when you come here, but it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, how did she do it during quarantine?
That's what I'm saying. God bless anybody who had kids.
Yo, like, tell her I will be praying for her. Doing quarantine?
Do you have any siblings?
Yes, a lot of them.
Okay.
Lots of nieces and nephews.
Wait, so you're talking about my sister crazy having 5 kids, but what are you one of?
I'm one of many. My mom has 4 total.
Wow.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
You get it.
I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle. But there's a lot of nieces and nephews though. It never gets old though. I'm glad that I'm not the one that have them. I love playing with them, but I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that yet.
Well, yeah, you're
so bless her heart.
Still young. It's okay.
Bless
I'm
her
still
heart.
young.
Yeah, we enjoying our best life. Enjoying our best life.
Yeah.
So the moment that we all been waiting for, now that we got all the little
stuff.
Info out of the way, let's talk about some Black Lives Matter stuff, the real elephant in the room. So being in the bubble, obviously, talk about what's the experience like with everything happening? You guys just being over there in the bubble, talk with your team, with your teammates, the organization.
Well, with everything going on, my team got together as a group and without the coaches, and we just wanted to have discussions. And it was really cool that everybody wanted to listen and hear personal accounts, and if you have any educational pieces, and it was like uplifting the Black voice. I think for the first time in at least my playing career, I've had questions of like, have you felt this? Have you been judged because based on the color of your skin? Have you? And I thought it was really cool to just talk and listen. I think that that's something that we as a country, as a world, needs to do a bit better. I think that that's how we change people's hearts and people's views, is just having an open conversation and listening to both sides. I think that my team did a really good job, at least the team part did a really good job of trying to push forward Black Lives Matter. And, you know, we did an auction with the National Social, what is it called? The NJBC, the National Justice of Black Coalition. And it was like uplifting queer Black people. And I think that was important just because I think those are two people in this country that are two groups in this country that have been oppressed, especially right now. We also have like done a team mission. We want to change something, open up a nonprofit somehow, and really help our community first, because I think that's where change happens. And then we try to take that into the bubble. And so we kept having conversations. We knew as a whole league that we were going to be the first sports league back. And so we wanted to make a statement to say, like, we are with Black Lives Matter. You know, everybody did it a little bit different. I think my team was pretty unified in our message. Yeah. And if we had somebody who didn't agree with the message, you know, I think at some level you have to be a professional, but at the other level, I don't think that we are going to just stand for inequalities any longer, or not speaking up against inequalities any longer. So that was difficult, you know, and I think every team had to go through that. There was times where we're like, how do I play with somebody who doesn't see the same views as me? And I think that's a little bit of like what being an adult is like,
right.
Don't, just because somebody doesn't agree with you doesn't mean you just
shut them out.
Shut them out completely, because then you're just doing the exact same thing that you want,
that you're fighting for.
Done.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's just trying to continue to talk and continue to push, and I think that, at least for me, when I see people, this is twofold. One, when somebody says, help, I need help, I'm being oppressed, I think we've got to listen, and we have to not just be like, well, but, and then continue to talk. Just listen and hear what they have to say. And two, where was I going with the second one? Lost my train of thought there. It will come back somewhere. What was I going to say? Jeez. I don't know. I think that's one. You have to like listen to people when they say like,
yeah,
this is what's happening to me. Oh, and two, I think that when somebody does do that, in my mind, it's not like this cancel off thing. It's just we have more work to be done. So let's keep working and keep pushing. And I think that's what's cool about this movement is it's not just a one and done. It's continuing to go. It feels different. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, for sure. You hit some key marks that everyone that's been on here, we've been saying the same thing. Listen. You know, the funny thing about, you know, growing up, people, I mean, we've been taught that communication is really important. It's really important that you communicate. But then people forget that communication doesn't mean just talking. Communication means also listening.
Yep.
Right? And so for the longest time, people that have been oppressed, they've been communicating. They've been talking. This is what's happening to me. This is what's happening to me. This is what's happening to me. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
For generations to come. All right. Your grandparents, my grandparents, like their grandparents and their dad, they've been saying, look, you've been mistreating us. We don't like it. Can we find a different solution? Is there something else can we do? But the thing, again, nobody wants to listen. You say something, they have their reason. They say, but this and this and this and that. And it's like, we just want you to listen.
Yeah.
We just want you to listen. And that's what communicating with somebody is. Like, you know, and so until people start listening, like you said, until people start to listen to each other, we're not gonna move forward at
Exactly.
all.
And I think too, like I always said, like if you say a statement and then you say but da 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 da, then
Yeah,
you can just kind of forget
just
everything that you
forget.
said before. Just
Just
start it
forget it.
from what you're saying now.
Yeah, just literally just forget it. And that's the thing. Like people don't want to have these uncomfortable conversations, right? People don't want to have the uncomfortable conversation, and because they're so scared, they're afraid of it. But it's like, how are we gonna move forward if we don't have this uncomfortable conversation? You know,
Exactly.
for the longest time, and people still don't. It surprised me that, I mean, it don't surprise me, but in a way, it still does, like, that people still don't understand the reason of why the movement is happening, the reason why people
Yeah.
continue to protest, the reason for why these athletes like you guys that have coming back to playing sports are continuing to take a kneel. They don't understand it, and they just have a different view of like everything.
Yeah. It's crazy. You know, do I think that kneeling is going to be the solution to all things? Absolutely not. I
No.
think there's action that needs to be taken, of course.
Yes.
I think with every protest, you have to have an action piece.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think with the Black Lives Matter movement, like Black lives have been oppressed. There's a lot of people that are like, I physically can't take another action. This is the only way I can show that I'm being oppressed.
Yeah.
And so if that's your only way of being able to do anything, then you have to, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, a lot of people will always do that. You're an athlete. You have these things handed to you. You've never been oppressed ever. And I'm like, that's such to me, a stupid thing. Like,
yo,
I'm like, have I had opportunities that others haven't? Of course. I wouldn't have made it to the top of where I am if I didn't. Do I think my journey looks different than some people's journey? Of course. And have I been privileged? And I grew up, my parents were able to feed me and pay for my soccer, and I went to a good school. All these things, of course. But have I also been followed by the cops? Yes. And do I also recognize that there's a whole group of people that look like me that haven't had opportunities? Of course. And I think that's what people need to realize. We're not just kneeling for ourselves. And the flag it's not for the military. Like, I respect the military 100%. I think that I can't even fathom like what those men have to go through, or those women have to go through, and their families have to go through. I think it's amazing. But do I think that we have to hold this country to its values, where it says liberties and justice for all, that I had to stand and say every single day of the freaking year in school? Absolutely. And do I think that we can honor those men and women every single day? Absolutely. But I also think that people forget, like, Memorial Day and Veterans Day are those days that we remember those people, not the national anthem.
Yeah. Not when you're at a ball game and the funny thing is, I think the United States is the only country where they play the national anthem for every sporting event.
Well, yeah, it's kind of silly if you actually think about it. Like, to play it, you're like, yeah, we're all American here, of course. Like, it's just a strange concept, but we don't need to get into that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I respect the military, because one, I respect anything that I know for a fact that I will never ever do. So whoever is doing it, I respect you. I don't care what you're doing. You can be playing. You can be I can't do no bow and arrow. I can't shoot it. So I respect people that can actually do it. To practice that. I respect anybody that can play, that can do frisbee. Anything that I know I cannot do, I respect you for what you do, for sure. The military, I respect them, man. Them sacrificing, like, all that stuff, I respect them. It's amazing to me that, like, people don't really know the full story of why the kneeling why it started, and who suggested to Colin Kaepernick
Yeah.
that he should take a
Yeah.
knee?
Military man.
A
Yeah.
military man told him, yo, because at first he sat down, he was sitting, and he's like, no, 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 yo, you're being disrespectful by sitting down, right? Because like when
Yeah.
someone passes away, we take a kneel and to show respect.
Yeah.
When you pray, I don't care what religion you are, kneeling's in it, is in it.
Yeah.
That's just happens. Kneeling's in it. When you're asking your fiance or your significant other to marry you, you get on your knees to ask that person to marry you because of the sign of respect.
Yeah.
And so it just surprised me that people are just takes it out of that. Oh, you're disrespecting. There's no disrespect to it. It's all respect because
Yeah.
and Jamia,
Jamia, enough.
Yo,
I love you too, Jamia. Enough. We're talking about something serious here, and she's freaking
out here telling people you're. She's telling you you're pretty. I
That's
love
very
you.
sweet. No, I think that it's so crazy to me. The whole thing is crazy. Like, people have been like, "Oh, are you happy that you knelt?" And I'm like, "No, it's not a happy thing. Like, it wasn't easy to kneel, and like, I love this country too. This country is giving me so much. Like,
Yes,
and I can recognize that, and I'm just saying, I also recognize that this country has oppressed a lot of people, and it's got to stop. But for people to be like, "Are you happy about this?" I'm like, "No." Like, that's the last thing I'm happy about, is having to do this.
yeah.
I would be happy if I just stood there and was like, you know what, this flag is respecting everybody, and everybody's having the equal rights, and be really, really proud to put my hand over my heart. Like, that's what I would be happy about. So even saying that comment, like, really, I'm like, what is happening?
I'll be happy when I don't have to go on social media and see that a cop handcuffs two teenager, a little girl that's 12 years old and a little girl that's 6 years old. That's black. I'll be happy I'll be happy when I don't ever have to see that. I'll be happy when I don't have to worry about my nieces and nephews stepping outside the house and them worrying about them coming back home safe. I'll be happy when my parents don't have to call me every night. Are you home safe?
Yeah.
Like, I'll be happy I'll be happy when I don't have to do that. That's when I'll be happy. But until that happens, there's nothing to be happy about. And people still don't get it. People still don't understand it.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that one. Like, I think it's crazy. Like, look at this little guy. Like, he's so cute.
Yes.
And at some stage, usually around puberty, they say,
Yep.
people view him as a threat. And like, my sister says that all the time. She's like, I worry about, like, my mom's white, and say my mom and my other nephew, Kingston, are at the house, and they're like, there's a burglar here, and the cops come. My sister's like, I'm afraid the cops will handcuff my son, thinking that my mom is the one who owns the house, and who, you know what I mean? And like, that's the thing where, like, really gets to me, is like, what?
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, what was it like for you guys? Like, I mean, it's kind of different now, like with things like having a mom that's white, and when you guys go places with her, do you guys still get the looks? Do you ask her, is that your daughter or do you kids?
I mean, it's crazy. So like, me and my sister look alike, but like, growing up, I was much lighter. I had like blonde, wispier hair.
Mm-hmm.
My sister was like darker, had dark, thick hair, and people would look at both of us, and they could like figure out how I was related to my mom. But my sister, they were like, "Who's that? Like, is that a friend?" And my mom's like, "No, they're both mine." And you're like, how could you even get that from they like our faces are the same. so, so I think that was really hard. Just like people just not even having an open mind.
Yeah.
How I think there was also a time where my mom, she's a teacher, and somebody was like, I can't remember exactly. Oh, this is time. She's a teacher, and we wanted to move. My dad, for his job, wanted to go to Texas, and so my mom was like, okay, let me look at job opportunities in Texas. And so she got the job to teach, and she was like, okay, this is my question for you guys. What makes this school district better than all the other school districts? And the person said, it's because we don't have to deal with those niggers here. And my mom goes, okay. And then just got up and left. And she's like, I'm married to a black man. I have 2 black daughters. I can't believe this is happening. This is in like 1997, maybe. Like, so it's not that long ago. In my lifetime, this goes on.
Holy.
And so when people are like, oh, get over it, I'm like, no.
Wow. Oh my,
Yep.
that is crazy. I really wish your mom was with you right now, so I can be like, can she hop on so I can ask her what it was like dating a black guy and married to a black guy, like doing that crazy time.
I'm sure it was crazy. I think, it's so funny. Like, we laugh about it now. My mom's one of 5. My grandparents grew up in the Bay Area, only seeing white people. And now, like, there's me, my mom who married a black guy, another one of my family members married an Indian woman. There's another person who raised their kids Jewish when my grandparents were super Catholic, and we are now a mixed family. So my grandparents have really had to like get on board with the
international house.
Yeah, like the diversity, and it's so beautiful. And I'm like, even now, my grandma's like, oh, I can't believe that happened. I can't believe I thought this. And I'm like, if my grandparents in their 80s can learn,
yes,
then anybody can. So like, I'm so over they're
no,
too
for
old.
sure. I mean,
I'm like, no, they're not.
At the end of the day, honestly, I feel like you cannot blame those people for thinking the way they think, because that's how they grew up. But then it's like, when you get at what age do you get for you to have your own understanding, your own thinking?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
Because I mean, I don't blame your grandparents. Honestly, I don't blame your grandparents for like the way they thought. But for them to see their daughter being happy, their son being happy, and it's like, for them to change and go, and it's like, wow, this is really how life is. This is how like, we were created to be together and just love each other, and no matter what skin color, whatever it is, like, and it's just like, if they can do that, and your grandparents, they grew up in the worst times, to be able to like accept your dad, and it's like, there's hope for everyone.
Exactly. I mean, it's not our fault that people shouldn't be judged just because we can take in the sun better. Like,
yes. We just the sun just hit right.
That's what? Okay. I'll open it.
Is that Jordan?
That's Jordan. Oh, there's my sister.
Hi.
She's the one with the children. Okay, hold on. Sorry. Here you go.
Oh my gosh. Nah, but man, look at her. Look at that cute. I mean, look at that cutie. Like,
I know.
Like, it's like, if only we can just put baby faces on ours for like while we grow up into grown adults, and people just see that, like, maybe that would help out. Maybe that'll help out. But I mean, we just gotta keep having this conversation. Keep trying to educate people. I've gone to the point, like, in the beginning, I was mad at everyone and anyone that was not on board with this. And like, if you were not posting about fighting for me, if you were not talking to people about fighting for me, I was like, I'm done with you. I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm literally, it's over. You're out of my life. But then like the more I talk to more people, the more I have these conversations with people in here, and it's like, Wilfred,
Do that.
you cannot cut people out. They
Yeah,
need
and I
you
think
more.
like
They
that's the
need
only
you
thing that's
more.
gonna like that's what's gonna divide us more.
Yes.
It's just yeah, for me I think that it's having hard conversations, but it's also having hard conversations with people that don't have the same view as you. You know, I think there is a difference between like political views and social justice views, you know? And I think that like when it comes to social justice and just like basic human equality, like I don't think
Yes.
there is a debate. I think everybody should be treated equally and everybody should have the same rights. Like we're human beings
Yeah.
at the end of the day. Um, but I do think that we were all raised differently, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and every even Black person has a different view on the matter. And I think that's what I hate seeing most is people who don't have the same views using Black people to get their point across.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can't just because it's a Black person with the same viewpoint as you use it to dismantle the whole movement. I'm like, this
Yeah.
is wrong.
Yeah.
They're entitled to their own opinion, just like any other human is entitled to their own opinion.
Yep.
I
100%.
just think if you look at it as a whole, a lot of people are saying, help me, I feel oppressed, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so with that saying, like, I just think that we have to continue to have hard conversations, be open to listening and actually hearing somebody. And then at the end of the day, like we're humans. We're supposed to be on this earth to love one another and uplift each
Yes.
other. And
Yes.
if we start doing that, then this world will be such a better place.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we cannot let this to continue. Baby Jordan should never get to our age. When she gets to our age, she needs to be in a place where she does not know, like she just knows the history of it, but just don't experience it. Like
Exactly.
we want them, we want Baby Jordan and to get to that age, that stage where like she learned about the history, because everybody needs to learn the history, but where she would never ever have to experience it.
Exactly.
Until we can get to that point, then we got to keep having these conversations for sure, 100%.
Exactly.
And if you're out there, if you believe that you have use your platform. I don't care. I don't care if you have 50 followers. If you have, what are you doing? Use your voice. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to talk to people. If you're white, to my white listeners out there, talk to people that are Black. Talk to them, learn from, ask them questions, because we can learn from you also, because we don't know how you're feeling as well, because we need to hear each other. We need to
Yep.
hear each other, and
I agree with that.
for sure. And please don't make this as a political thing, because for me, I don't care about your political views. I just care that you're a decent human being. At the end of the day, it's all about being a decent human being. Political views have nothing to do with it. Religion have nothing to do with it. It's just about being a decent human being. So please, that's my point on that. I don't believe that religion have anything to do with it. It's just about being a decent human being. Can you stand up for someone that's being bullied, that's being hurt? Can you stand up for them? Can you stand by them, stand with them? And so yeah. But have you what are some things that you're doing to educate yourself before we leave?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I completely agree with you saying. I'm going to go back on everything I just said about the but statement. I agree with you saying it's human nature. And like, if you're being a great human being, great. At the same time, I think that I'm educating myself with all the policies that are going on right now, in the political system. I am realizing that, we have to vote not at just like a presidential level, but a state level.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's where a lot of change happens and systemic racism happens. And that's how we're affected most. So trying to just educate myself a little bit more in that sense, and continuing to be in the news. You know, I've read books, and I really think what's really cool right now is that on Instagram there's those like slide back things.
Yeah.
Anytime I see one of those, I really like to go like fact check it and read about it a bit
Mm-hmm.
more. I think that a lot of people are like, black people know everything, and I'm like, well, I can only tell you my personal accounts, but I need to
Yes.
also educate myself. I think you're like, well, why is this actually happening to me? Why is this happening to a whole group? Sorry, somebody said at a local level as well, and you're completely right. I think we should vote at a local level. So thank you for catching that. But like, why is this happening to me? So like reading books, hearing podcasts, fact checking, seeing something that's not your view, and then going and looking at something that is your view. That's what I've been doing. So you can get both sides. And it sounds like a lot of work, but I find it very interesting, especially because it's something that affects me. But it's something that affects everybody. I think that's what we need to know. It's not just like a black person problem, and I'm sure people have heard this, but it's just a human rights problem.
Yes, 100%.
So that's what I've been doing. I think it's really cool. I've talked to so many teammates, even about little things, about like, can I call you black or African American? Like, can you use this hair product? And I'm like, no, that will not look good on me. And
them curls,
yeah. I know. I was like, no, I don't. I know.
Yeah.
My hair will fall out.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, for sure. We definitely need to get out there and vote. We definitely need to get out, and especially the local, because it starts at home. It starts in where you live, in your community. It starts there. But in terms of political views, I don't care if you're on the right side, if you're on the left side. Just educate yourself, because I think I see a lot of people like the left side and the right side. People are fighting, and it's like this is not the time. This is not the time for the left side and the right side to be fighting. Like, we don't need that. We need people to look at the facts and just see what is best for everyone.
I think that's something. Sorry to cut you off, but like that's something that's so crazy to me, is that when people are like, well, this is how I feel, and like, I want to vote because it's what's best for me. And I'm like, that's great, but at the same time, we live in a democracy where you have to vote for what's best for the whole of the country. And so I'm like, I think that's great for you personally, but like I said, we live in a democracy. Like, so how can I we have, like any relationship, the nation is a relationship. So we have to take a little bit. And it's not like a right or left thing. Like I said, it's a human rights thing. And so if I was at this moment, if I was a Republican and I didn't like the Republican candidate, I wouldn't vote Republican. If I was a Democrat and didn't like the Democrat candidate, I wouldn't vote Democrat. Like, it's vote for what you think the whole is gonna like benefit from. And I think that's the big point that people miss.
Yeah, and that is why I said, for me, it's not necessarily a political thing, because people like to take it and say, well, I'm a right side, I'm a left side. It's like, no, forget that, man. Like, there's no time for that. Like, human decency, like, what is right for every human being. And so definitely, for sure, we definitely need to. I was one of those people that didn't care about voting. I'm like, my vote doesn't count, blah blah blah. I didn't care about it.